is freezing upstairs. Welcome. Should we? Did you think I was such so bad I should hold the notes?
No. That's not.
She's really good at this. She's like, did you want to hold the notes? So that...
No, I like to hold them.
Yeah, we'll hold them.
I have notes that I usually don't hold notes, but
We'll hold notes. Hi.
You do it,
Robin. Packard. Anyone? No?
Hi.
My name's
Laci.
Laci. Friend.
We're killing it.
Spelled like your best friend. Okay. So we're going to talk about building relationships and strategies for success on social media.
Yay!
Yes.
Okay, for 37 people, you're going to have to give us way more.
We're going to feed off your energy, so
Yeah.
this could get real boring.
So if you
guys are
suck,
just
we
sitting
suck.
here. Yeah. It'll be your fault. If you're going to talk about it later, it's your fault, not our fault. All right. So, with that being said, we are going to start, well, maybe, yeah. We're going to start with a little game here. There's a lot of people in this room, at least for me this time, that cannot participate in this game. In the previous room, a lot less people that I am personally connected to. But if you know me on a very personal level, and so you just know that you know me, you cannot answer these questions. Same for Robin, okay? But I want to know, what are I'm going to take 5 answers. What is something that you know about Robin Packard?
Buffalo.
Horses, buffalo, kids.
Has a boyfriend?
Oh, God. So far, this is coming up in every room. And I'm 100% here for
That
it.
was a hard launch.
Indeed.
That was a hard sell.
You mean hard.
Oh, my God.
And Crystal set her up. That's what friends do.
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
We could spend the next 30 minutes doing this, actually. Anyone else got another one? Separate?
Cowboy girl.
Cowboy. Girl. Cowgirl. I'm cleared in on it. Say that again.
The Patty, whatever. Video.
Pamela Pumpkin.
Yeah,
I was like, what? Daddy wagon. Pamela. Pumpkin. That might come up again later, too. Okay. Chaps over jewelry. Okay. How about for me?
Can dance.
I don't know why she said that. This crew right here.
You love Kansas City.
I do.
And you're married to Chris' friend who's hottie.
He is Toddy Toddy. I did used to babysit Michaela. You guys, is that crazy?
Your daughter's a hooper for real.
My daughter is a hooper. Okay. We're going to move on from that. How many of you, by a raise of hands, know that because of Xyngfest? Wrong.
Social media.
Exactly. We think we do, but it's because we're on social media, and you're seeing those things on social media, right? So, today, we're going to talk about that, building relationships using social media. Oh, did you know it did that?
I didn't.
Well, there you go. You guys got bonus material.
By the third one, we'll have this really good.
You're on, system.
Okay, how many times has your... Oh, this is really
You want to hold these?
down here. How many times have you...
You wanted to hold these.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. How many times have you or your download said, well, I just don't know anybody. I've told everybody. I've talked to everybody. How many times do you hear that?
All the
All
time.
the time. And you're like, roll your eyes until they go clear to the back of your head. I started with 800 friends on Facebook in a town the size of 3,000 that was an hour and 15 minutes from a Target and 35 miles from a Walmart. That's how I judge distance. I'm not a man. I can't. That's just how I do it. So I did not have a social media presence. I did not have people real close. I've always pretty much lived on the ranch, so it's not like I could just go to town and talk to 10 people a day. But I do think there is a lot of truth in Rudy's 10 penny story. You've all heard that? You get 10 pennies pocket in every person you talk to. So social media can fuel your warm market and turn your cold market warm. How many of you have gotten a friend request and immediately, do you want to buy some eyelashes?
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, no. I mean, I literally am like, oh, sis, I wish I had time to help you, but I don't. I got my own people to help first. That's not how you do it. You got to turn that cold market to warm. We have to attract people to us. what my social media, how many people think, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think I even like social media? 0. Yeah, I actually don't like it at all. I have my own personal opinions about it, but I don't like putting myself out there because I posted once riding a 1,000-pound steer, and it went like viral in another country where that same steer is like holy, and they were like, you're too big for that, you're whatever, you're hurting him. And I'm like, he walked up to me in a 10-acre pasture, let me pet him and get on. If he didn't like it, he wouldn't let me get on. But it opened myself up to criticism. But I also got a lot of new followers that thought it was funny. And I'm not saying post diversive stuff. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying you have to put yourself out there. I have a pet steer. He should be hamburger, and instead he lives a happy life in my yard, right? I post him sometimes. I post when my kids sunk a Can-Am. My kids sunk a Can-Am. We'll talk about that later. But it builds your relationship with people. So if you want to do the 10 pennies method, you have to be doing that on social media every day. And if you can do it in real life too, that's just a bonus. But social media is where it's at. You find your tribe on social media. Again, it was really hard for me. And then in the beginning on Instagram, I was like, everything has to be perfect. Look at all these perfect Instagram models. Look at the style girls. They're all so pretty and perfect. And I'm like, I'm not that. I'm 45 years old. I'm not a model. And what I learned is it doesn't have to be perfect. No one relates to perfect. They relate to like the struggles in your life, the real quirky little things about you. I mean, if I have any friends left after Pamela Pumpkin, it's astounding. But that's how you're going to start building those connections to let people know, like, become friends with you. And it shows the world who you really are. And I went to an Instagram school 3 years ago, and the lady kind of went through one by one and rated our deals, and she's like, yours is just real watered down. I don't feel like I know you at all. I feel like I see pictures. I can kind of, put together that you love your kids or whatever, because I don't know you, and no one purchases from people they don't know. We're going to talk about that some more. Which is the know, like, trust principle, the #1 rule on social media. This is why people purchase, because they feel like they know you, like you, and trust you. People purchase where they're comfortable. They have to feel like they know you, but the biggest problem on here, not problem, thing, they have to trust you. Is your social media doing these things? Or are you just putting up stuff because you're like, oh, I know I need to put something up today, which we're going to talk more about. Is the next slide?
I think it's me. Right.
Oh, well, I have the paper.
She's really using those notes, isn't she?
I know.
It's a good thing she's carrying that around.
These are like pancakes.
It's her stupid idea. Okay, so knowing you. You guys in this room, I'm looking around, I'm like, you guys are experts at this, honestly. You're very good at it. I follow all of you. I love following you. When I wake up, I don't click right past your bubble. I actually watch it. So that's a good thing, right? People need to like you, have it or know you. Whoop, I about skipped right over the wrong one. Anyways, how do they get to know you, right? You have to post. You have to get in your stories. You have to figure out reels. You can Google that stuff. If you don't know, that's not an excuse. And yes, I didn't say a bad word because I'm professionally up here. Google that stuff, okay? They have to know about your whole life to know you as well. You have to be consistent. They're not going to know you if you show up and talk about your, whatever kids one day and you're like, well, now everybody knows I have kids. Well, first of all, only like, a few people are seeing that per day. You know that, right? So we think that we're being monotonous by posting the same things over and over. It's actually incredibly important to keep posting the same thing over and over for people to get to know you. And you have to show up every day. You have to be consistent. So make sure you're sharing all the things you also like, the things you use, the things you know. It's not just about Xyngular. And the 5 pillars. Have you guys heard of this? Yes. Stephanie did if you haven't found it, you could actually go to Room at the top and Google or search that, 5 pillars, and it would pop up, but it's absolutely incredible. So if you're looking for content, how do people get to know me? Well, what are your 5 pillars? Mine are, #1, my faith. You'll see that all over my social media. #2, my family. Whether that's my kids, my dogs, my daughter playing basketball and us chasing her around the country. If it's, whatever we have going on, in-laws, all the things. The next one is fashion, which I just do a whole lot of content when I'm somewhere because 99.9% of my fashion is sweatpants and bun at the top of your head, right? But I do love the stuff. It's food. I freaking love food. Does anyone in here love food?
Oh, yeah.
And so if I can figure out a way to make a cheesecake that maybe it's just a teeny bit healthier for me, then I'm going to talk about that. But people come to me a lot for recipes or, oh my gosh, you're eating all of that and still on a plan, right? And then fun. I freaking love to have fun. And so you're going to see that all over my social media because I live for it. So those are my 5. Faith, family, they all happen to have it. Okay. How about that? I didn't plan it. And of course, singular. And it's woven through there, right? Which is, we're talking about bringing people in through our social media. So get your 5 pillars. One of my biggest pieces of advice from our little discussion today is write down your 5. And then get really clear on it. And that way you're never showing up for people to get to know you and not knowing what to say or what to do or what should I post. And also, if there's something random, and I mean, we all post random stuff too, but if you can keep it within your 5 pillars most of the time, it just gives people like this just really good trust, which we'll get to again about, man, I really know her. And probably a lot of you could have said my 5 pillars for me. What are yours?
The ranch life, mom life, singular, motivation, fashion. Not that I'm good at that one, but they keep liking it, so
Oh, spare us.
well, I'm just saying, like,
Okay, well, if I could get in your clothes, I would take all. You know what? Go ahead and empty your closet if you're not good at fashion and give it to me.
I seriously want to become that influencer that's like, because like I got this for $5 at TJ Maxx, I got this for $20 at TJ Maxx, because I love that stuff, like making something look expensive, but your whole outfit is like, none of these jeans work. But anyway,
And your belt wasn't,
You made up for it.
it might be fake. You don't know. Okay, so do they like you? Do you post personalized content that lets them know? Are you just throwing up corporate graphics, throwing up before and after pictures? I was really guilty of this, just watered down stuff. I want to use Maddie, and I'm glad she's in here, because I get life off of her stories where she's mixing her gut blow, and she lets like Way have the, and like every mom in there is like, this isn't gonna end well, but like I'm here for it, so I'm, or lets her stir the stuff, because like every mom that's like, that's a good mom. This isn't going to end well, but this is a moment, So, but that draws a string to me where I relate to her. And then another one, the more she posts, and pretty soon I'm all psycho over here, and I'm like, she's my best friend. She doesn't know she's my best friend. Do you share enough audience that they can relate to different parts of your life? I was not doing that. I didn't like to show the good, bad, and ugly. I mean, I'm telling you, my son and his best friend watched a TikTok on how to drive a Can-Am across a tank. But those Can-Ams have snorkels, and mine does not. So I put on there, originally I was like, all right. But we videoed the whole thing. They sunk it in a pond. We had to swim underwater, chain it, and pull it out of the tractor. So we just put the Taylor Swift "We Just Can't Have Nice Things" song on there, and I showed the whole thing on my reels, because it's real life. Something's getting torn up, something's happening, and it gives something people relate to. And like a funny thing about Laci, and I love this because it's a perfect example of what Xyngfest does for us on a daily basis. This has been 10 years, and I don't remember if it came from, I'm sure it did, but she dropped her keys an automatic flushing toilet as she's done going to the bathroom, and she was like called, and the keys were like $500 to replace, and she was like, thank you God and Xyngfest. And I have that feeling every single day when a bill comes up that I wasn't expecting, someone tears something up, something happens in my life, I'm like, thank you Xyngfest for that extra income, because 10 years ago this would wreck me. And that's a feeling that every person can relate to. But if you're not talking about it, or you're not like, oh my gosh. I mean, my son's had 3 ER trips. He's really hard to keep alive. Like that would have wrecked my finances, So we got to be putting that, not just the good, because I used to think it needed to be picture perfect. No one can even relate to that. They don't even like that. They want to see the real. Do you give viewers something to come back to every day? I want you to pretend from this day forward that your life is a reality show. And the first thing, if you're me, you're going to be like, oh, my life's not interesting enough for that. But it is. It is to somebody. And you have to give them that consistency and something to keep coming back for. Like me. Wonder what Wave's doing today. Wonder what Maddie's going to let her do today. She going to blow something up? I don't know. I'm going to go check in. Like, they have to have a reason to keep coming back. Go back to your pillars. If you're not funny, don't try to be funny. I mean, I'm always going to try to be funny, but if you're not, like, Do things that fit your pillars and be authentic to that.
I'm just gonna put cameras back.
Good job.
Like I said.
I'm Pamela Pumpkin, and you're about to do
Really
Pamela Pumpkin's
aggravates me, the
Halloween
audience.
workout. Woo! This is
Yeah,
Alex.
they are.
All
I
right, come
noticed
on.
my words.
Shake off the Skittles, shake off the Reese's,
That's
shake
my
off the
pregnant
candy
assistant.
corn.
And her shirt says, "This is bullshit."
Ride the witch's broom. Ride the witch's broom.
Do you know why I did Pamela Pumpkin? Because someone said she seems very serious and all hardcore business, and that really hit me because I was like, that's not who I am. That's who I am when I'm sitting in a meeting and need like grind out goals. But this is who I am in real life. Like we stopped the whole day to watch a YouTube video on how to twerk one day. Like in real life, I can be fun. But my social media was not portraying that. It was portraying this real boss babe, hard deal. And the lady's like, why don't you let him see the more fun side? Now this might have been a little drastic.
We got chaos to spread.
That's my daughter-in-law, if you don't know, she's cute.
She's so cute.
Okay, so we're going to move on to trust. And to trust you have to build that credibility, right? Would you agree that of all three, and I know she said this, but of all three of those things, knowing you, liking you, and trusting you, if you're going to put your life in someone's hands, which one is most important?
Right.
That you trust them, right? And the most important thing that you need to know here is they're not just buying something from you for energy or weight loss or for whatever. They are putting their life in your hands because we're here to change lives. So they have to trust you. So you have to show up as a trustworthy person. One of the ways that I try to do that is obviously it is not just about singular, right? We were talking in the first one like, oh boy, one of the first mistakes you'll see someone make is all of a sudden they're just puking singular everywhere. It's like they don't have a life other than that. And that is immediately the opposite of building trust. Because they need to know you're a real person. This is not just about you selling them something. It's what we're going to do for other people. So you have to keep those 5 pillars in there. Give people tips about other things. Tell people where you found your, I'm going to go shopping with Robin. I don't know about the rest of you for the TJ Maxx finds, right? You're going to share other things that have nothing to do with singular because you're building trust with people. And you can do this online, right? We're talking about social media, and that's why we're focusing on it. And there are all the ways to do that when you meet people in real life and all the other ways. But on social media, you definitely have to build credibility, giving hacks and useful information. Again, we've said it, but you have to be consistent. Because when it is social media, that's the only time they see you. And if they're only seeing you 1 out of every 30 times that you post it, you have to keep posting about the same thing over and over and over. And it also builds those threads with people. And everyone in here has the opportunity to do this. Look like a professional. Not so hardcore, I guess. I mean, Pamela Pumpkin, I love it. That builds trust to me too. But anytime you have the opportunity, if you're on a 3-way FaceTime video chat with people, snap a picture of it, right? Take a screenshot. If you're on a big Zoom, take a screenshot. Anytime maybe you have the opportunity at a sip and see, are we all going to be doing that now, right? Thank you, guys. Then have one of your friends take a little video, take a picture when you're up there talking, because that also builds trust in the fact that they're like, this person knows what they're doing. Other people trust them. Robin mentioned the last one. You have people that'll message you. You all do it. I've seen it on your wall where one of your customers will say, oh my gosh, I just jumped in that pair of pants that I haven't been in. Take a picture of it. If they don't want their name on it, you can wipe that out and crop your screen or whatever, but it's showing people that you are a great coach, that they can trust you.
Ask your customers to write a review of you. Go to them and say, hey, I'll give you whatever, another gift card to Starbucks, whatever. If you'll write a review for my business, and then post pretty Canva or whatever, post your reviews. It's okay to toot your own horn in a classy way. Like, it's somebody else's review. It's not like you wrote it.
Or you could. You get on Canva and just write your own.
She is great.
And we know, you know what, guys, here's one thing we know, and I don't know if this has ever stopped you, but we're all human. You worry about the criticism, right? You worry about the comments. And I loved what Kendra said yesterday, like, I don't even read it. I never touch the reviews. I don't look at them because you could get 100 good ones and 1 bad one that'll stop you in your tracks. Being vulnerable and building trust, you are going to get it. but just let it go. Don't read it if you don't want to. So just, we are all like that, we know that. Oh, this is you actually.
Did you do the last?
Oh, I might not have. I might have just done skipped right over. Oh yeah, I didn't do it. Okay, so social media actually has nothing to do with you. So every time that I would sit in my house and have a good thought, but I was like, you're wearing sweatpants, no makeup, and your hair's in a knot. This is not the time to go live, but it is, right? It actually is. And to all my friends yesterday, Michaela says to me when we were going to take a picture, oh, I don't usually use filters. I was like, you will. I'm almost 50. You're going to use them later. It's fine. If you're that beautiful, then you don't have to right now. But then when you get older, you're like, oh, we'll take a couple wrinkles off. I can go with Chuli right now. That's a filter you should download.
I agree completely.
Chuli? Chuli. C-H-U-L-I. You don't need it either. Whatever, shut up. Okay. One of the things you want to do on social media, we've been talking about what are you posting, what are you doing? Interact with other people. Go ahead and follow all the other accounts that are lining up with your 5 pillars. Other people who do this for a living, other people who are attracting people to make money online. All of that, and you're interacting with people, actually boost your algorithm when it pops up, because then Instagram, TikTok, all of those know, oh, this is what she's about too, and they'll boost that in that area for people who are looking for that. So it's also about other people. Follow the people. There are people out there that you're like, oh, if I got those, I have one. I'm going to lunch this next week when I get home with someone that's been on my chicken list forever. If y'all just pray for me. Anyway, she's incredible. You know what I did? It's not like she's always coming to see what I'm up to. I started going out and commenting on everything she was doing. I'm commenting on her wall. I am messaging her from her stories. I'm talking to her all the time. Oh my gosh, I mean, she like is the head of the PTO and the this and that and the other at the school. You know, she is a baddie. I mean, this woman, I don't know if that's a word anymore. My kids tell me I get behind. Like, oh mom, that one was last year. Oh crap. All right, I gotta get my notes out on my phone and write the new name down so I can keep up. Anyway, we're having lunch, and it's probably because I started going to her. It's because I jumped in her stories. And then when we go to lunch, I have so much material to say, girl, oh my gosh, I'm glad you finally asked me about this. I mean, she did. I should have went to her, but right, you got to make those connections. I'm going to tell her everything that it is that makes her a perfect brand partner and making it personal. So just remember, it's really about them. That's why you're going to show up like that. You like their stuff, they're going to see your stuff, and so are other people. And so I think I got that one.
Well, we're so worried about who's liking and commenting and supporting us, and we're not doing a good enough job liking, supporting, because that's what's going to get them notice us. And if we're their hype girl, imagine if they're like, man, this girl hype girls every post I have. What would she do for me in the business? But we're too worried about the validation of getting likes and comments, when really my recruiting starts at liking, commenting, sharing another girl's stuff, and then building a relationship from there. Okay, you have to be able to track your relationships and content. Otherwise, it's just like going to be all willy-nilly. And to me, what I've seen in the past 11 years, a confused distributor does nothing, an overwhelmed distributor does nothing. So I have to just track everything. So if I'm recruiting Melissa Corbin, Melissa's on my whiteboard. I used to use an Excel sheet. You can use Teamsy. Whatever will let you know, because we all know follow-up is key. So if I'm recruiting her, let's say she's, you know, whatever on Instagram, I'm going to start liking her stuff. I'm going to start commenting. I'm going to see it enough that she gets my, I mean, it takes a while for someone to come onto your radar if they're liking and commenting your stuff. But I'm going to like start liking, commenting, sharing her stuff, and pretty soon Melissa's going to be like, who's this Robin? She's going to click my profile, whatever. I might send her a private message. We'll talk about that more later. But I have to remember that I'm in contact with Melissa, or the next day I'm going to lose track of Melissa. So Melissa goes on my board. I want to make sure she's a target, right? And track her. Understand, this is the most important thing you're going to know about your follow-up system. It takes 9 times of just some kind of communication back and forth about Xyngfest. So it might take 10 times before that, but 9 times about Xyngfest before she's going to purchase from me. That's a sales statistic in the world. I didn't make that up. It's not just Xyngfest. 9 times of us talking about Xyngfest. So we got to have some conversation before that, before we get to that. And then Maddie's brilliant at this. I mean, the Stadell girls kill it, both of you. But 15 times they have to see it on social media before their purchase. Well, how many of you are putting the same stuff about your daily routine 15 times on social media? I see people putting on like once a week. You got like 5% of your viewers saw that. They need to see that you do it every day. And that's what, sorry girls, you guys are awesome, but you post that glow up every morning almost, or it seems like to me, and I know that's a part of your life. Okay, so a good example. I follow a yoga girl. I went through a yoga phase. I'm kind of out of it now, though. Too much pressure to be still. Anyway, I follow this yoga girl, and I know her, but every day she posted a picture of lemon water. That's it, lemon water. And I was like, well, she's not trying to sell me anything. You know, I can buy my own lemons and water. So every day. So finally I'm like, what's the deal with the lemon water? Like, I reached out to her. And she's like, oh, I just had my liver enzymes were elevated, and I heard that lemon water detoxes your liver. Okay. So imagine if you're every day doing your gut collective or your morning drink or that your happy pill or whatever every day, like that's going to start, people will be like, man, she believes in that. She does that every day. It's part of her routine. I've seen it more than 15 times. The bad thing is if you're like me, like you throw something up one time and you're like, I hope the whole world saw that. Now I got to do something new. Well, that's not necessarily true. Oh, everyone's flagging me down.
I have a question. The live transmission that we do in Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, that can be a way to track the relationships with the audience who see us.
It's like track who watched it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can write down who commented and liked on your stuff.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yes, because sometimes we make live telling about our products, our benefits of our opportunity. So in that case, the people who is comment in the live, that is
yeah, you can put them on your track list.
Okay, so because this obviously is also, so much about Xyngfest, you do have to take it to the next level, right? We're going to do this day in, day out, visiting with people, but you have to get to a point where you talk about Xyngfest with that person. And so I know on the daily IPAs, a lot of people want to check that box when they posted a picture of their dog or posted a picture of their kids or, oh, I worked today, I got it on there. That's not really the box to check, at least on your Xyngfest to-do list, right? So you have to get to a place when you have built that relationship and when you have talked and been in contact with that person, whether it be in stories or whatever, to take it to the next level. You have to get bold enough that you'll get in your inbox, pick up your phone, hit the video chat button, whatever it is, and actually share Xyngfest with that person. And you can so authentically do this where it is not forced and it will feel comfortable when you've built the relationship. So you're not like trying to force it too soon. You'll know when it's the right time. And you just compliment them. It's so simple. You're going to move the conversation over there. You might be talking to them about whatever they just said in stories. Most of the time, don't you love it when it feels, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but it's like putty in your hands because they just said something on there and you're like, this is my door. I'm going to walk through it, right? Whether they're just talking about how, oh my gosh, I wake up every day bloated and I don't feel good. Ding. I mean, why wouldn't you? How much would you have to hate them not to actually tell them when you're sitting there holding the answer? And right now, who isn't talking about how they can't even afford the gas in their car or the groceries or, whatever it is? This is such an opportunity to help other people. And so you move that conversation over there. You actually tell them why. What attracts you to them? Tell them why they would be an incredible brand partner. Tell them what you have. Invite them to do it, right? So you just have to make sure that it's not just all the 5 pillars and talking about the stuff, because that's important. At some point, you do have to move that conversation over. So I think that was all of that. Oh, wow.
How much time do we have?
Look at
I guess
us.
we can do some questions.
Yeah. I mean, this is an Instagram world. We're in an Amazon age. Everybody wants it right now. Don't sit and wait around and say, hey, let's get together. And it takes, I don't know about you, but sometimes my schedule is like, November 23rd, does that work for you? Because that's the first time we're both free. You don't wait on that. That's the beauty of social media, right? You can build relationships on social media. Do we know that you can also do that when you go to your kid's soccer meeting and you're sitting by a new mom, or you can do that apparently in the grocery store? I don't know, that just doesn't work for me. I cannot stand at the Bananas and be like, so you like to eat healthy too? I mean, what, weirdo, get away from me, right? But like, you know what I mean, when you're gonna be around someone a long time and you get to know them, use social media as a funnel too. When you walk away from that situation, if you found a connection and said, oh my gosh, we have to follow each other on Facebook, let me pull that up, let's friend each other, right? Use it as a funnel, then they're seeing you every day. But social media, you can build a real relationship. Just make sure at some point that you take that to a more personal way. So yes, you might be voice messaging. Yes, you're talking, texting, commenting, all that. But at some point, make sure you get on a video chat. See them face to face. You may not live anywhere near each other, or if you do and you can meet up, that's great too, right?
Well, the few things that I want to leave you with, the algorithm is not your friend. It's not helping you, especially if you're posting the same tired graphics and stuff. But you know what they're not, like, lowering the visibility on is your lives, your stories. But if they see you posting the same corporate graphic that 100 people that day posted to, right? So you have to show up every day. And the best thing I learned at that Instagram school, which I was not doing, I'm really big on self-inventory. And for some people, it's really hard to point out the flaws in yourself. But the girl was like, you have to pretend that you cloned yourself and you work for yourself. Would you give that girl a raise on how she handles your social media? Or would you be like, she's doing a crap job? And there's literally times I want to fire myself, right? You have to show up consistently to show Facebook, Instagram, TikTok that you're there, you're staying, you're relevant. And you just have to know it's a journey. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. And then there was one more thing I wanted to say too.
Back up, slides.
The what?
Was it on a slide? Should we back up?
No.
Anybody have any thoughts, questions, things you want to share, tips you have?
I was just gonna say, like, I know you asked about like tracking your lives and if those people you reach out to, track them, but reach out to them, but make sure you write them down, because when I first started with Xyngfest, I thought, oh, I'll just go back to that post and I'll get all the names off that post tomorrow or next week. And I lost it, because then your social media starts getting big, and then, maybe you had 70 comments and you reached out to the first 20 and then they all wanted to get started, and then you got them started, and then like you lose them. So write them down that day, like that time. Do not wait. You won't go back and find them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you both speak into the boundaries that you put around your social media? Because I know, like, obviously, you both definitely lead busier lives than I do. And so, like, I just want you to, like, can you speak into a little bit, like, how you, like, do you schedule it into your day? Do you, like, how does that look for each of you?
I try to time block content out, like, so my son team ropes, and you might sit there for 30 minutes with nothing happening, and I'll sit there, and usually, like on a quiet day, kind of on a weekend, which that might not be popular opinion, but I kind of get it ready for the week. And if you don't have a super, like, I live on a ranch, there's days I don't even talk to another human being. Sometimes I really love that too. Like, but then there's days that it's so crazy. I'm like, I can't just purge all this on a Facebook. So I save it, and then I'll post it in my stories later or on my deal later, to have, so I don't have one heavy day and then nothing. And I'll have moments where, but I try to time block, because if I sit down, I'm recruiting right now, set a timer. I don't have to set a timer as much anymore, but if I find myself getting distracted, I will set a timer. I am just recruiting right now. That means I'm reaching out to girls, talking, building relationships, whatever. Okay, right now I'm just creating content for the week. That's all I'm doing.
Robin, how often are you posting your story?
I say 3 to 5 times a day, and not all Xyngfest. Jab, jab, punch. Jab of life, whatever. And when you're posting the Xyngfest, it can't just be just product or just opportunity. It needs to be lifestyle, the sisterhood. Weird things draw people to, it's not always just recognition, money, whatever. It can be sisterhood. It can be how many chance do women, like, do we get a chance to, like, collaborate and hang out and stuff, like places like this. Give them a little bit of everything, but keep it mixed up. But don't get on everyone. But today, I know this, with the state of the world and everything going on, you have to be so loud on Facebook right now. Xyngfest doesn't sell on the shelves. You are their advertisement. Are you living up to your part? I don't think we have enough brand awareness by far. That's our fault. That's not a corporate problem. That is a brand partner problem.
Yeah. And I think we wait too long to celebrate things too. You guys, how many people just want to have, a moment where they feel proud of themselves. So shout people out for everything. Let's not be waiting until someone hits the 1 million reasons. My word, right? Like anyone who got $100 in their account would be celebrating, right? So we want to do that.
Well, and I'll tell you, the reason I'm a gold ambassador, which Laci knows as she's heard the story a million times, is because Laci stood on stage holding a $100,000 check, and I was a distributor sitting in the front row and leaned to my upline and said, "What do you got to do to get that?" She said, "A lot more than what you're doing." It was true. It was true. So I can't post that check, but that right there sold me on the business. I needed that. I couldn't win that in the lottery, but I could do it here. You can do that here. Get on social media though and shout out the girl that made $100. $100 is someone's difference between making groceries, feeding their kids. If I wouldn't have seen that check, I wouldn't have been here. Maybe I would have saw that check on social media and it would have been the same thing. If you're not posting, I mean, be compliant.
Right.
Be creative. But stories delete after 24 hours.
Right, exactly. You can always post. You can always post, and 4 days later it just became private, right? Like, if you can't find it, you can't find it anymore. And it's only out there, like, you know, up in the top of the notifications for just a short time. I mean, we're not telling you.
We're both getting an email from compliance.
We are in trouble. Right? But, oh gosh.
Laci, do you have your Facebook and Instagram account hooked up to each other?
I do, and the reason I did that is, and you guys probably need to look at your own followers, I have very different followers.
Yeah.
I was like, so I'm like, I don't mind that these stories are going to both places. Yeah. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
And if you need to boot, like I just noticed my Instagram like was doing really good. Like it's crazy because my Instagram was doing really good and my Facebook was declining. I mean, I just noticed that like 2 weeks ago. And it's because I've been spending so much time on Instagram pushing. And my face, and they are very different audiences. So I kind of threw a Hail Mary and did something to bust my algorithm. It worked too. That was my hard launch. Oh, there you go. I was like, what will get people talking?
You found it. Got it. You guys too with the compliance. Be creative. You know when they said you can't, I mean, Brock stood up there, you cannot open your envelope of money. Please do not pull out those $100 bills and fan them out and take a photograph. Please do not. I'm like, fine, post the envelope and say, I can't even tell you how much money's in here. I mean, I don't know if that's compliant, but it's not saying a dollar bill. Right?
Now,
I mean, just
we are
be
now
creative.
teaching a whole new breakout session.
How to creatively, but you can be creative
There
with
are
it
creative
still.
ways.
Yes, there are creative ways.
Post
Right.
them, like her keys costing $500.
Okay, about the keys, I am incredibly germophobic, and we were in Oklahoma going to a Xyngfest meeting, and I needed to use the restroom, and I had a skirt on, and I did not want to put my butt on the seat, and so I was hovering, and I tucked my keys into my skirt, you know, like the key fob on one side and whatever, and I am just getting it done, and all of a sudden my keys drop, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm deciding, because I'm a germaphobe, I didn't put my butt on the seat. Do you think I'm going to put my hand in a toilet that I just peed in? No. And I'm like, but you have to, because 3 people are with you, and we're in Oklahoma, and Chris is going to freak out, and he's going to kill me, and I have to drive 3 hours to bring me the key. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And I was like, you're going to get the keys, Laci. Just get your crap together and get the keys. And I go like this to get them. Because it was an automatic flush toilet. So I stood up to turn around to stick my hand in there because I can do hard things. And they were downtown Oklahoma City faster than I could.
You need to share that story live.
I was like, oh shoot.
You really need to share it live.
Deanna and Danielle are like, you ready to go to the meeting? I was like, well, we could, but my keys are downtown. And they're like, what? And I was like, through way of the toilet? And they're like, what? And I call Chris, he's like, call a locksmith. I am not, I've been married for 26 years. I was like, so much for you writing in, your boyfriend would have come. So I had to call a locksmith, get a new key, didn't have the other key, so then I paid $500 to get that key fob, but then it made my other key fob not work because blah, 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 because they just do this crap to you, you know? So then I had to go home and take them in and pay another $300 for them to make both keys work with my car. Okay, good job.
But how many times do you, something in your life happen? This happens to me every single day. Yes. And I'm like, thank God for Xyngfest. I mean, my kids, the Can-Am deal, it cost me $1,000. They had to hang my Can-Am upside down when my son drove it into a tank and sunk it. 10 years ago, that would have been catastrophic for my family. We feed with that Can-Am. We pay. Everything we do is with that Can-Am, and these two little turds, TikTok, sank it. Like, that would have wrecked me financially. But if you don't go talk about it, it's funny. So if I tell you that story, you're going to remember that. But you're also going to remember what Singular saved my butt in that moment. And you're going to have moments where everybody feels this. Like, you think you're rolling along good financially? Bam, here's a $4,000 whatever medical bill or whatever, you know? Medical beer.
How do you schedule your social media? Just connect your two things?
What do you mean?
Well,
like
you connect your
when she was
Instagram and
asking,
Facebook.
Or whoever asked about that. Did you ask about that? I think Robin's a lot better at this than me. We'll just say that. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. So whatever's going on in the moment, that's what I just talk about. And I've learned that even the most mundane, stupid stuff, that's usually the best stuff. And I also think Waylon is a celebrity. And I'm like, this girl has to have her own TikTok, her own. I mean, I'm watching everything she does. And you know what I mean? Like, whatever the daily stuff is, I'm just doing it as it goes. And I have also noticed I'm getting when I like get one ball in the air, do y'all feel like sometimes you're dropping another one? It's like, oh, okay, I've got to get my stories. Well, now I notice I just never post anything. I'm always in my stories if you want to find me, but I am having so I do think it's so important to probably get more scheduled with that. But I usually am just like whatever's going on. And I mean, I try to take as much content as possible when something really exciting is going on, and I do save it too. That way, if I'm like, whoa, I really am not doing anything right now, then I can pull things out that I saved, you know what I mean? But it is so important that it gets done every single day. And I do get in there every day, but I just am kind of just going with whatever's happening. And just, yeah, the most mundane stuff people follow. I mean, how many of you are literally obsessed with watching like the whole, you know how people will do the film of them like throughout the morning. I mean, you're emptying the freaking dishwasher, Michaela, and I'm watching like, oh, this is mesmerizing. I hate to empty my freaking dishwasher. I usually try to get one of my kids in trouble, so they have to do it.
To actually do it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna video myself that way
I'm doing. That's so smart. Yeah. So it is those little things too, just the get ready with me, the day in the life. I mean, you're tying your shoe, you're going on a walk, like those things. Like I will sit and watch those reels and just be sucked in.
If people love consistency, they love consistency of checking in and seeing what you're doing, even if you don't think it's that big a deal. Mm-hmm. And if you're not consistent, Facebook, Instagram does not take you seriously, drops your algorithm. Yeah. You're fighting an algorithm. Yep. You just got to work with it.
Like to add, you can get weeks worth of content by being here.
Yes.
So go and take 2-second clips of you doing stuff. Like it, literally weeks worth of content that I have on my phone just from the last 2 days.
Yes. And that's how my life is. Like one day super exciting, store it all up. I literally have an album in my phone that says for social media or reels to make. And it just sits there until I'm ready to deal with it. Yeah. Because if you're like me, then you're going to have a day where nothing happens.
Everyone has days where they're really not doing anything. And that way you have content to actually post on those days.
Yep. And here's a little just whatever tip. Anytime you're taking a picture, if you have an iPhone, make sure you have that on live. The reason is any photo you take, as long as you are in live, you can click the little button at the top and save it as a video, and all of a sudden that picture, because most people like to see the movement, even if you're standing there, your hair will blow a little, that movement is amazing. You just save your photo as a video. Then you can click some together and you have a reel from a few pictures that you took.
Good idea.
Got it. Good job.
Yeah, you're awesome.